What's going on, guys? This is Nick from Budget Build Garage, and today I'm going to install the Harmonic Balancer on our $200 Craigslist big block. Alright, so this is our Pro Products Harmonic Dampener or Balancer, whichever one you'd like to call it. It is an 8-inch. It's pretty cool. I've used them before. I have one on my Pontiac actually. I like them. They're somewhat low price compared to some of the other stuff you can get. I think they're around like 80 or 90 bucks, maybe 100. I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up. One of the things I really like about them is they have amazing engraved timing marks. Makes it really easy to see. I like to have just a pointer on my car, and I like to actually go off the dampener itself, which is cool because this one goes from 0 to 60 degrees before top dead center, so I can really set it to whatever I need and whatever I want. As for the balancers themselves, these are press-ons. A lot of people like to hit them with a hammer until they go on. I have to be honest, I've done it that way. It's not the way you're supposed to do it. You shouldn't do it if you have a choice. The tool they use to press these things on are only like 20 bucks. I recommend investing in one. It'll make the job a lot easier. There's a couple other little tricks I like to do. I like to take a set of calipers and actually measure the inside diameter around here, as well as the crank snout to make sure it's good. And my favorite thing to do is actually measure the depth from the seal on the front cover to where it would bottom out. A lot of the times when you're trying to put one of these on, you kind of wonder, is it fully seated, is it fully in, and it's hard to tell. But if you measure that ahead of time, make a mark on the dampener, it makes assembling this thing a whole lot easier, and you know for sure you're fully seated. The Harmonic Balancer Installer Tool, like I said, it's about 20 bucks. They're really handy. One side of it's drilled for the front end of the big block crank, the other one for the small block crank, so this one is for a Chevy. It's got a bearing in it, which is really nice. The bearing butts up against the Harmonic Balancer as you drive this in. It makes it a lot easier and a lot smoother. There's not really any binding. I think you should get one if you don't have one and you're going to do this a few times. Like I said, they're 20 bucks. They're really worth it. Really, that's it for showing you how to do this stuff. All I really need to do now is press it on. Alright guys, so now that I've shown you how to kind of prep and get ready to do this, we're back on the engine and we're actually going to press this thing on. But before we do that, if you've actually decided just to beat it on with a hammer, you should lay a 2x4 or something across it, something wooden, to absorb and distribute that shock better so you're not damaging anything. So, if you're going to beat it on, use something. Piece of wood, anything. Next, make sure everything's clean. Make sure you're ready to go. This is just some white lithium grease, nothing crazy. I like to add this to the seal itself, just so it doesn't gall anything as it goes in and pushes by it. And then of course, you know, make sure their snout and everything is clean and put a bit on there for good measure, you know. Now that we've done that, it's time to throw this balancer on there and press it on. Alright, so there's a keyway right here, as well of course is on the balancer. That's okay for now. Now, as far as this tool here, as you can see, I did add anti-seize right here, just in case, for whatever reason, if this thing snaps or breaks and we have to like pull this out of the front of the crank, we'll be happy we did it. So run this thing in until it bottoms out. So you want as much thread in there as you can get. But as soon as it bottoms out, back it off just a bit. You don't want to crank it in there really hard. Like I said, in case it does break, you want to be able to get that thing out of there. After that, slide the bearing on. And the gigantic nut. I'm going to hold the end of the tool, the 5/8, so it doesn't just drive in farther. And I'm just going to crank down. All right, there it is. Took me a while, but we are fully seated. Black mark is right where it should be. The one I made on it earlier meets up with the seal perfectly. This thing is fully seated. Back this one off. Alright, so that's it for this episode. Tell me what you thought. Tell me if you think it's easier to beat these on with a hammer. Tell me if you think it's easier to press them on. I'd love to know how many of you guys beat these things on and how many of you guys press them in. Personally, I think the aftermarket ones like this are a lot harder to beat on with the hammer. You could take a bit off with like a sanding disc or something. You could take a bit off of it with like some sandpaper or something, make it on a little nicer, but I don't really like to do that. Tell me what you guys like to do. If you liked it, go ahead and like, drop a comment, and I'll catch you on the next episode.